Ghost of Yotei is a proper AAA experience, for better and for worse. Having thoroughly enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima and wanting to knock a longer game off my backlog, I thought it would be the perfect one to dive into. Set a couple hundred years after the events of Tsushima, Yotei sees you stepping into the shoes of Atsu, as she seeks revenge on a group called the Yotei 6. You travel across the Ezo region on your trusty horse, tracking down Lord Saito and the Yotei 6 and aiding Clan Matsumai in reclaiming the land for the people. Atsu herself is a very different kind of protagonist from Jin Sakai, and it takes a while before she's able to show personality past stoic anger. As the game goes on and more side characters are introduced, they're able to bring out a bit more of a humorous side that we don't see other than in the flashbacks where she's a child. It's a pretty generic story that dabbles in ideas of the cyclical consequences of revenge and the all-consuming, almost controlling nature of being unable to move on and see past the red mist of anger. I did call the entire plot before it happened, hoping that the journey would ultimately be worth it when I knew the end destination, and that was sort of the case. The pacing is alright, but it can be poor in places. There are a lot of missions that feel like filler content, more equipped to be a side adventure rather than vital for the main story. These missions are the ones that I dub as Mary Jane missions, as they take you away from the elements that you are really playing for, in favour of a slower, more sneak-orientated fest of nothing. Like, really, why am I running around with this child playing some sort of hide-and-seek in her home base when there's literally a war going on? Who wanted this? Like, genuinely, who designed this game and thought, let's break up the combat, which I'll get onto that in a moment, to have you just run around with this child in a home base, searching for medicine, just swinging off things? Who? The bloody kitsune sections also tested my patience. The statue puzzle gimmick goes on for far too long, and it's just not fun. When you think you've done the last one, another pops up. I pulled up a guide in the end, as I just couldn't stand it anymore. At least the acting and the visuals try really hard to carry the weaker plot point. One thing you simply cannot deny is that Ezo itself is stunning. You can absolutely tell that this game had a heck of a budget. Almost every frame is cinema. The environment interacts with Atsu, bringing a huge sense of realism to the world. It is, however, rather empty. Perhaps it can be excused here for narrative reasons, but it's one of the main critiques I have with these sorts of games. Yes, materials can be picked up as you go to upgrade weapons and armor, but it's not really adding life to the experience. Aside from the collectibles and points of interest that are scattered around the map, it's a pretty barren experience, save for the Ronin that sometimes appear to claim the bounty on Atsu's head. And, at least for me, this was not really a good thing, as I really disliked the combat. It was one of the first things that I realised that would really sour my experience with this game. Whilst I wasn't a fan of the different stances in Tsushima, I would take them in a heartbeat over the swappable weapon system in Yotei. It's the same rock, paper, scissors concept, where certain weapons are effective over others, but it just doesn't seem to flow as smoothly. It is brutal, but it's slow. There is certainly a knack to it, and I just didn't like it enough to properly learn. I'm not ashamed to say, but I lowered the difficulty to story mode. The ability to adjust the difficulty and make the game accessible to everyone is one of the best features of AAA games. I probably wouldn't finish the story otherwise. Sure, you can say that I should have pushed through and truly learned the mechanisms. However, at the end of the day, gaming should be fun, and if you're not having fun, there's no reason to keep banging your head against the wall. There's plenty to do aside from completing the main story, including side missions, hot springs, bounties, minigames, and much more. I admit that I'm yet to 100% everything that this game has to offer, but I have dipped my toes into parts that interested me. Most of the extra things add buffs and upgrades to Atsu, so they are worth doing from a strength and level up perspective, especially if you're playing on those harder difficulties. In order to find things that are in the open world, you can either ride around randomly and enjoy the satisfying sounds of horse hooves on differing terrains, or you can use the new map system. This is one of my favourite additions. You obtain the maps through interacting with people who will give them to you, as well as buying from the cartographer. You then place the map where the outline shows, and I just think it's an interesting and interactive way to locate places. For further immersion, there are mini-games that require you to make use of the controller features. These are in first person and have you swiping the touchpad and moving the controller. They're fun for the first time, but definitely lose their charm after repeated exposure. Thankfully, there is an option to skip. Unfortunately though, Not every minigame gives you that option. The one that really got under my skin with the no skip option was that damn coin flicking game. It just felt like a huge waste of time to do, and I ended up just flicking to get it over with by the end. This is the sort of game that I would have 100% with no questions asked back in the day. However, as time has gone on, I've started feeling AAA fatigue. Is this an adult thing? I don't know if I like it. The short and complete experiences have definitely grown on me. Now, a 60-hour checkbox trophy list is more of a daunting time sink than an easy but time-consuming way to get that platinum dopamine rush. I'll probably complete it at some point, as this game is incredibly well optimized for the PS5. It looks fantastic and runs extremely well, but I just have no rush to return to Ezo for now.